when we were gathering the interest, one of the things we also said was it doesn't just have to be your backyard. It can be a space you have access to. So if someone, worked for a church and the church had a huge parking lot, or if someone, worked for the Parks and Rec department and there was some park they could reserve, we were open to, it didn't just have to be your backyard, an outdoor space that you had access to, and you as the host could still be the host of that space. So the first thing we did was we posted all over and we directed people to a Google form. And another thing that we did, Jill has a Patreon and Jill had run a Kickstarter for her album. So we always try to remember to let those people know things first and to include them, because those are obviously like the number one fans that have early invested and ongoing investment in Jill. So Maggie's really good at communicating with those people. And so she sent the form out to all of them early. So they had a chance to kind of volunteer to be hosts early. So if you have ever run Kickstarters or have a Patreon or have an email list, start with those people, because those are your super fans that are most likely to want to host. And so then after that, we got the list back. And Jill and I had a couple conversations, and I just kept saying, I don't know how to route a tour. I mean, I know how to string cities together and think about what makes sense, but in terms of Jill in her RV with her family. And so I just kind of handed it over to her and said, I'm going to be half booking agent, and I'm going to kind of work on the contracts, and you be half booking agent and you work on the initial contact and getting things lined up. So we took the form and I basically handed it over to Jill. And Jill, do you want to talk a little bit about how you routed the tour and that process?
Yeah, sure. So once we got a lot of the replies back from hosts, it was all just in a spreadsheet, and I just went through all of it and just started calling people, just kind of calling people every day, and really talking ad nauseum about, the plan, the expectations with COVID, especially, getting my feelers out to figure out if they're up for the task of really trying to keep people safe, or if they just want to show, and so a lot of talking through, bathrooms, talking through sound, and talking through, how big your yard is, all of those things. And then as far as just routing it, I just kind of went show by show and just tried to figure out how to be a booking agent myself, but it worked out really well. And I ended up playing, 27 shows across the US.